Welcome to the second part of the lesson on shelling. Please join me in opening the measuring cup part from your Infinite Skills folder for Chapter 4. This part is a little different from most plastic parts in that it has two shell features. I'll show you why this is here in a moment. But this type of technique might be typical if you are creating thermoformed or some very thin injection molded parts. Let's roll it back and see how the part was created. Started with a block for the handle, and then a block for the main bowl of the measuring cup. Final block just added the spout on the front of the measuring cup. After that, we have a series of fillets. In this case, we haven't really even bothered with draft. The next feature is a shell, and you will notice that the shell feature will generally come after the fillets. In fact, the shell feature generally comes after the draft. But as you gain experience with plastic parts, you will notice that shell, fillets, and draft can often cause you to play the game of rock, paper, scissors, where none of the three actually ever wins consistently, and there's no real strategy that will help you every time. After the main shell, what we have done is added a rim around the outside of the part using a thin feature. And just to look at how this was done, I opened a sketch on the top face, selected all of the edges using the right mouse button option. If I right mouse button over an edge, select tangency. And then with that selection in place, you can use convert entities to get exactly what I've got here on the outside of the part. With that sketch created, I then created a thin feature extrude because it's an open loop sketch. It does not connect the endpoints. And I just made the thinness of the feature actually very wide and the thickness of the feature actually not very thick. So this is how this rim was made around the outside of the measuring cup. Another feature is a feature that seems to undo most of what was done previously. And this one might also require some explaining, both in how it was done and why it was done. First of all, how it was done, let's roll it back and I'll just recreate it for you. There are several ways you could do this, but this is how I actually did it. If you just click on the top face of the rim that goes around the measuring cup, open a sketch, and again, right select and select tangency. You might have to do this a couple of times. Right click, select tangency. This is with the control button down. Right click, select tangency, and then hit convert entities. Then we have a couple more lines to create. Let's zoom in here a little bit. I want to close this loop so that it's a closed loop sketch. All right, so there we're done. Let's turn off the display of sketch relations because we don't need those. They're just cluttering the scene right now. So we've got a sketch that goes all the way around. If I just take this and extrude it from here and extrude down, it fills in the measuring cup. And so we've lost everything that we've done. So I don't want to do that. I'm going to hit Control Z to undo that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use extrude, but I'm going to use this from panel, and I'm going to extrude from an offset. This means that instead of extruding from the sketch plane, I can move the starting point of the extrude. And so I can enter in a number, but this is going the wrong direction, so I make it go the other way. And let's push it down quite a ways. I don't know how far. In fact, it really doesn't even matter how far to some extent. And now instead of extruding a particular dimension, what I'm going to do is just extrude it up to the body. I would look for up to next here, but up to next is not an option. So I'll select up to body. That's the next best thing. And then within this selection box, make sure to select the body. When you do that, SOLIDWORKS almost always makes the arrow go the wrong way as soon as you make that up to body selection. So just use the reverse direction option to make it go the right way. SOLIDWORKS very often gets confused about direction when you have some sort of an offset involved. So now I've created this extrusion that you saw before, and I've answered the question of how I did it, but not the question of why I did it. I'm going to delete it so we can use the original feature. Okay, just so you can see that that's really the same thing. And from here, we put a fillet around the inside and a chamfer around the outside. And then the next step is to shell. Okay, so I've used two different shells, one from the top and the other from the bottom. Very frequently, in particular with plastic containers, you will have a plastic part where you've got some sort of a rim that's got this undercut around it. And the easiest way to do something like that is using this method that I've just demonstrated with two shell features. Let's take a look at how this second shell feature was created, because it's not exactly straightforward. I'll use the shell, use a standard thickness, right-click, select tangency, and instead of selecting edges, this time it's selecting faces. Okay, and now I've got these three small faces to select up here. And I want to also remove the bottom. Okay, so all this is going to leave is the rim and the inside. If I wanted to use a multi-thickness, this would be a good place to do it. And then hit the green check. So this is a good use for the shell feature where you can use multiple shell features in a single model.